Hi everyone, I'm Sreekanth. We are discussing programming in C language. The today's topic is about basics of C programming language. The today's agenda of this session is about various features of C programming language with the suitable examples. What are the various features of C programming language? Is generally categorized by C is a simple programming language. C is a machine independent programming language. C is a middle level programming language. C is a procedural language. C is a structural oriented programming language. C is a syntax based programming language. C is a case sensitive. C is a rich library. C consists rich libraries. C has strong memory management. C has a fast and efficient programming language. C is a modularity programming language. C has statically typed language. C is a general purpose programming language. C supports pointers. C supports recursions. Rich set of built-in operators are supported in C language. C has built-in libraries with rich functionalities. C is a compiler based programming language. C program can be portable in nature. C is a portability in nature. C code can be extensible. So these are all the various features of C programming language. We'll discuss one by one in detail. The first feature is C is a simple programming language. Why? Because in C, whatever the application we are developing means we need to write set of instructions, right? In C language, we are writing the instructions in the high level instructions, general English. So we followed basically ASCII standards, ASCII 7 or ASCII 8 standards. Using that code instructions, we are writing in a C language to develop what? C based applications. Generally it is in the simple English language only. C is a simple language in the sense that is provides a structured approach to break the problems into what? Parts. Why? Because C is a structural oriented programming language. Means the larger problems is going to be divided into smaller subroutines. The rich set of library functions, data types, operators, tokens, like it going to be supports various topics comparing to previous programming language. For that sake, C is what? Simple programming language. C is a machine independent or portability. Unlike assembly level languages like low level languages, C programs can be executed on different machines with some machine specific changes. C is what? Machine independent language. So when we discussed about generations of languages, the first generation, second generations programming languages are what? Machine dependent language that can be run to the specific machine. But third generation languages onwards, what? All high level languages, middle level languages comes under what? Machine independent language. C is a machine independent language. Once we are writing the source code, happily we can take that source code, we may compile and run in the different or cross platform operating systems. See, that's what C is what? Machine independent. Also we can carry that source code from one machine to another machine. Here machine is nothing but what? Like computer. So it may run with what? Some operating systems, right? Suppose I written the code, source code in the window based operating system. You can carry that source code from Windows operating system to some other operating system like Linux based operating system, Mac operating system, or Solaris operating system, like different operating system. We can carry that source code. Some operating systems not required to change anything, directly we can compile and run the application. But if it is any small modifications, if it is required, you can also do it. But we can carry the source code from one platform to another platform. Further, sex is what? Machine independent or portability in nature. Next, middle level programming language. Why? Because C is a middle level programming language. Up to before C language, like we discussed, Algal, CPL, BCPL, B language. See, those are all completely developed of what? Low level programming languages, like machine, hardware level, embedded systems like that. But C, it's going to be supposed to C topics and concepts are supposed to develop low level language as well as what? High level language. Most of the topics are reusable in the C language. Those topics are reusable in what? High level programming languages. For that sake, C is what? Middle level programming language. C is intended to do low level programming programming. It is used to develop what? System-based applications such as kernels, drivers in the particular operating systems. It also supports the features of a high-level language. That is why it is also known as what? Middle-level language. So it's going to be combined for both capabilities of what? Low-level language and high-level language. Further, C is what? Middle-level programming language. Another important feature is called C is a procedural language. The name only clearly telling that POPL, procedural oriented programming language. C is also a procedural oriented programming language. When you want to develop C based applications, you must follow some rules and regulations. See, like suppose I'm going to be constructing one statement. Okay, see, every statement must be terminated with what? Semicolon in C language. Like set of rules you need to maintain. C is going to be developing with the help of what? Curly braces, with the help of what? Some function is called main function. So main function is an entry point for what? C programming language. So each and every instructions, the execution starts and ends with what? Main function only. Here C supports various keywords, like 32 keywords are there. See, that keywords must be used for specific purpose only. Each keyword, those keywords must be maintained in a small case only. Like if you are writing if is a conditional statement, if is a keyword in C language, like if you written like capital if, see, both are different in the procedural oriented programming language. Every programming language can set of rules and regulations. Like C has set of rules and regulations to what? Construct and develop what? C based applications. See, further say C is what? Procedural language. C program may contain what? More than one functions to perform a particular task. From main function we can later divide it into subroutines, like user defined functions, like function 1. Okay, we can divide it like several sub functions. C is a structural oriented programming language. It means we can divide the larger problems into what? Smaller problems with the help of what? These user defined functions or subroutines. Okay, so this is about C is a procedural oriented programming language. C is a structural programming language. So just only explained. C is a structural programming language in the sense that we can break the larger problems or program into what? Parts using functions. So it is easy to understand and modify. So how we are going to be dividing the main problem into sub problems with the help of what? Functions topic. Functions also provides what? Code reusability. We are dividing the larger problems into what? Smaller problems with the help of what? Functions. So don't worry about, sir, what is function, how to write user defined functions, how to utilize built-in functions. We'll discuss each and every topic in detail in the next coming session when we are working on the programs. Okay. The next important feature is about syntax based language. Syntax means what? Set of rules we need to maintain mandatorily. If you are not maintaining proper syntax while developing the C based application, the compiler is responsible to generate what? Compile time errors. Here syntax based is another features of what? C language. C is a strongly tight syntax based programming language. If any language follow rules and regulations, very strictly known as what? Strongly tight syntax based language. Example, all these procedural oriented programming languages like C language, C++, Java, .NET, PHP, Python, we must maintain proper rules and regulations based on the particular syntax of the topic. If you are violated, immediately it's going to be throws what? Compile time errors for some programming languages. Some language generates what? Interpreter is going to be responsible to generate runtime errors. So if any language not follow set of rules and regulations very strictly, known as what? Loosely tight syntax based language. Best example like front-end technology. When you want to develop any front-end applications, best example like HTML, hypertext markup language. Here all are inbuilt tags. You know it. User cannot do any kind of new tags creations. User cannot do any new modifications on that particular language. HTML provides all built-in tags. Just we need to use it. Either you can use small case or uppercase. No issue in that HTML languages. Example I can give like, so we can able to open HTML tag either in the small case or we can able to close this in the small case or uppercase, no issue. Okay, in the front end technology, especially what? Markup languages. So there is no worry about what rules and regulations, because these are all inbuilt tags. User is not created or programmer is not developed any new tags here. Everything is provided inbuilt tags. So there is no strict rules on the particular programming language, but In case of procedural oriented programming languages, especially like C language, C++, Java, .NET, there every language contains its own syntax, rules and regulations. We must follow it. If you're not followed there, compile time errors are, compiler is responsible to generate compile time errors. Okay, C is a what type of language? C is a procedural oriented programming language. C is a structural oriented programming language. C is a syntax based language. Must follow some rules and regulations while developing C based applications. Okay, another important feature is called case sensitive. See, normally if you are declaring the name, like I suppose I written here one variable called small x, right? Small x is different, capital X is different in the C programming language. It has a some case. Case important is there. Smaller case has different, upper case has different. Consider both are two different words. But in case of what, like in case sensitive languages like HTML, there you can write smaller uppercase, it won't worry. But in case of C programming language, must write these words in the proper case. If you are using small case, must be implemented with the small cases only. If you are writing capital letters or capital case, must be follow that capital letters only. Both have different meanings. See, it treats the lowercase and uppercase characters differently. C is a case sensitive language. For instance, if you declare a variable small x of integral type, it is different meaning together if you type capital X. If you written capital X instead of small x, immediately throws compile time error. The X cannot to be find that symbol in the programming language. Okay. Further, say case sensitive is another feature of our C language. It is a case sensitive programming language. In C programming, small word break and capital break both are different. Break actually is a keyword in C language. If you are using capital letter, it won't treat it like a keyword. It is like a normal word in the C programming language. Especially these procedural oriented programming languages like C language, C++, Java, .NET, all are what? Case sensitive programming language. It maintains upper cases, lower cases has different meaning. But some other languages like case insensitive programming languages like HTML, SQL, there you can give the queries or tags or instructions in the form of what? Uppercase, lowercase, no worries, because those are all built in HTML, all are built-in markup languages. Further, it can consider both uppercase, lowercase as the same meaning and specific word only. Okay, but C is not like that. C is a case-sensitive programming language. So another important features like rich libraries. See, we not required to write from the basics, from the low level, because some libraries are provided inbuilt. Like I want to perform input output operations, like inbuilt header file is enabled in the C programming languages like stdio.h, standard input output header file. It enables several functions, built-in functions we can reuse in our code, like for input operations, output operations, or several standard IO related operations not required to write separate code. Here C library provides inbuilt header files. We can utilize that header files, we can include that header files, we can use that functionalities. Okay, just we can write the business logic that is fair enough in while constructing what? C programming language. Like mathematical related operations, all inbuilt trigonometric functions like sine, cos, tan, secant, cosecant, like several inbuilt functions are enabled in the math.h, like square root functions. Okay, like if you go with the ceil functions, floor functions, absolute functions, like that. Suppose I want to perform any square root operation, not required to write this square root logic, just you can call like square root function. Okay, this function is already provided the functionality in one header file called math.h. Further, C provides rich set of libraries. For console related operation, con.io.h is there, console input output header file. For character related operations like C type.h. For assertion, assert.h. For finding any error related, error number.h, like set jmp.h, sdd arg.h, like several built-in header files are provided by C. Whenever we require, just include that header file, we can utilize the built-in functionalities for our business logic for developing particular applications. So C provides what? Lot of inbuilt functions that make development is what? Fast and reliable. The application programming interface like API of the C standard library is declared in a number of what? Header files. Okay, all rich set of libraries are enabled in the form of what? Header files in C programming language. Each header file contains what? One or more built-in function like function declaration, data type, functionalities like function definitions, macros. Everything is provided inbuilt. Okay, so not required to develop from the scratch. See, some built-in APIs like application programming interfaces are enabled in C in the form of what? Standard libraries called header files with extension what? .h. Sir, how to identify? It is a built-in header file. Then which file consists with the extension .h? Those are all comes under what? Standard libraries of what? C programming with extension .h. See, in future we can also create what? User-defined header files. That is, we'll discuss in the later session. Don't worry about that. So it enables several data types, character classifications, string related operations, mathematical operations, file operations like we can create the file, we can save the data into the file dynamically, data and time operations, localization, memory allocations, process control, signals, alternative tokens. Like we can able to perform several operations not required to develop from the scratch. All these functionalities are enabled inbuilt. Some header files are called standard libraries. See, standard libraries are enabled with the help of what? Header files. Don't worry about each and every header file what we require to develop in the C program. I will explain in detail with the built-in functions. Okay, so this is another important feature is called standard libraries are enabled in the form of what? Rich library features of another important feature of C programming. See, another important feature is called memory management. See, it supports what? Features of what? Dynamic memory allocation. See, we can allocate memory at what? Runtime using some memory allocations like mloc, malloc, calloc, continuous allocations, free functions. Whenever we required, we can allocate the memory using these dynamic memory allocations like malloc, calloc. Whenever work is going to be completed, then we can free memory from programming itself using the function called free function. Using free function, we can able to free the memory, allocated memory dynamically. So that is the advantage for using what? Memory management. Here, user is responsible. When we performing dynamic memory allocation, we can allocate the memory and deallocate the memory with the help of built-in functions of C. All these functions are enabled in what? Built-in header file in the C standard libraries. So we can able to allocate the memory and free the memory in the particular programming. So further C is what? Memory management support is there. Another feature is called fast and efficient. Comparatively, assembly level language, machine level language, these C languages provides what? Fast, more accurate, fast and efficient programming language. See, it supports both middle-level language. It provides what? Programmers access to direct manipulation with the computer hardware. But higher level languages do not allow this. See, that's one of the reasons C language is considered as a fastest choice to start learning programming language. It is a fast because statically typed language are faster than what? Dynamically typed language. See, C language can easily understand, C language can easily, using C instructions, we can able to develop C based applications very easily by programmers. Further sake, it is fast and efficient to develop a low level application as well as what? Somewhat high level application using C programming language. Further sake, C is what? Fast and efficient. And application development is also what? Very fast comparatively what? Previous existing programming languages like BCPL or B languages. The compilation and execution time of C language is what? Fast, since there are lesser inbuilt functions and hence the lesser overheads. Modularity, the concept of storing of C programming language code in the form of what? Libraries for further future use is known as what? Modularity. I told you, right? We can divide the main problem into sub problems in the form of functions, and also we can create our own user defined header files. Okay, suppose I created main problem, assume it is a main function. Okay, from main function, like later I'm going to be dividing this main function into what? Sub functions like f1, like f2 and f3, so on fn sub functions I divided. Okay, like so on fn I created. So I am storing all these functionalities into one file with extension what? .h header file. Whenever I required, I can utilize, reuse these functionalities of the particular header file in the particular programming. Further, C is also supports what? Modularity programming language. Okay, example, I want to perform arithmetic operators very simple example I'm telling. Arithmetic operator consists several functionalities, right? Add is there, subtraction is there, multiplication is there, division is there. So instead of writing addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, all these code into one functionality, I can divide this. Addition is one function, subtraction is another function, multiplication is another function. Like that, I divide all these main problem into sub problems. Whenever I want addition of two numbers, then I call only addition function only. Whenever I want to perform subtraction operation, I call subtraction function. So I can divide all these main problem into sub problems. We can bind that all the code into one file is called .h header file. Whenever I required, I can include that header file into the particular program. See, C is what? Modularity of the programming language. C language consists rich set of libraries and also allows we can also develop user defined libraries also, user defined header files also. See, that's what C is what? Modularity. So another important feature is called statically type. C programming language is a statically typed language, meaning the type of variable is checked at the time of what? Compilation, but not at what? Runtime. Means each time a programmer type a program, they have to maintain the type of variable. So here, what is the type represents? Type represents, I can give an example here. Suppose I'm storing one value here, x is equals to 10. Yes, what? X equals to 10, x carries which value? 10 value, right? See, 10 is what type? 10 is a number type. Again, in number type, what type it is? Integral types. Like suppose I stored y is equals to what? Some value called 12.25. See, now what type of value it is? It is a number type, but what type? Floating point type. It consists precision and a scale value. Suppose I stored another variable like name. Okay, so I try to store some value called name. Name is equals to, here I'm going to be storing the name. Name is a collection of characters, right? I try to write like Sri. I'm going to be storing. So Sri is what? Group of characters. That group of characters are going to be closed in one variable. Sri is represents what? Name. Name is nothing but what? Collection of characters is a different type. Like that, I can store different type of value. Okay. See, all these represents what? Type of variables. All it is going to be identified at what? Compilation time. What type of variable you are using? Either integral types or floating point of types or character types. Suppose character means what? I want to store only one character. Suppose I'm going to be storing ch equals to like Deva. I'm going to be enclosed with what? Single quotes D. Right? It is what? One character. We are going to be storing only one character. See, it going to be represents what type of variable we are going to be using, whether it is a correct type or not. Suppose I enclosed this character as an integral type, then someone need to check, right? Yes, it is going to be identified at a compilation time. Compiler is responsible to check. If we are not declared proper type, immediately we may get what? Compile time errors. Okay. So further X is what? Statically typed. It's going to be checking the type of variables used. Okay. The programmer type a program, they have to mention the type of variable used. What type of variable you are using, you must mention properly. C is a statically typed language, and C is a general purpose language. From system programming to photo editing software, C programming language is used in what? Several applications. We discussed in the previous video session also, right? It's going to be support system level applications, especially like operating systems like Windows, Linux, iOS, Android, OS, so on, etc. Several operating system internal kernel development or utilities of operating systems are developed with the help of what? C programming. Not only for system level application, it also for developed what? Compiler based and database application developments, like especially MySQL complete. That code is going to be developed with what? C programming, C and C++ programming. Further, C is what? General purpose language. C, using C programming we can develop system level applications, low level application, and also it supports what? High level application. That to be high level application development softwares for specially compiler designs for high level applications generally used for what? C programming. Further, C is what? General purpose programming language. Next, C supports what? Pointers. C provides the features of what? Pointers. We can directly interact with the memory by using what? Pointers. We can use pointers for what? Memories, structures, functions, arrays, and so on. Okay. C is going to be supports pointers. Directly we can interact with a particular memory reference. We can able to find the particular address. We can able to store the particular value of the particular variable. So C supports what? Pointers concept also. So we can achieve these pointers for majorly For dynamic memory allocations, we can give the memory at runtime, how much memory is going to be allocated, like for four values, five values, six values, with the help of dynamic memory allocation functions like malloc, calloc, reallocations. Even not only allocating the memory at runtime, we can also free it, that memory, using what? Free functions. Here user is responsible what? Allocating memory at runtime and deallocating the memory at runtime using what? Some built-in functions enabled by standard libraries of C. C supports pointers topic. Okay, we'll discuss in detail with the programs. Don't worry about that one. Next, recursions. In C, we can call the functions within the function. It provides code reusability for every function. Recursion enables us to use the approach of what? Backtracking. See, instead of calling that function explicitly every time, using this recursion, the function is going to be calling itself, okay, until unless completion of a particular job. See, such a topic is called recursion. The function calling itself is called what? Recursion. Okay, C supports recursion topics. Next, rich set of built-in operators. C supports several operators comparatively previous programming languages. C supports what? Complete high level. What we are going to be regularly, we are using these operators for what? Development of C based applications. Most of the operators are supported by what? C language. See, these language consists what? Rich set of what? Built-in operators, which are used in writing what? To providing a solution of what? Complex or simplified algorithms of C program. Just only we discussed, it supports inbuilt libraries what? With rich functions. C supports libraries with rich functions. C is a compiler based programming language. Here C compiler takes very vital role for development of C application. If programmer did any kind of syntax errors or any kind of like improper coding, compiler is responsible for generating what? Compile time errors. Until unless clearance of this compile time error, we cannot proceed to what? Next level like execution of C program is not possible. Until unless syntax errors should be clear, then only compiler is converting what? High level language into what? Low level language. As we discussed, compiler is not only checking the syntax and semantics errors, compiler is also behaves like what? Language translator. It converts what? High level programming language into low level programming language. Okay, that is done by compiler. C as a compiler based language. C has a compiler. C is a portability. Once we writing the source code, we can carry that happily source code from one platform to another platform of cross platform of operating systems. See, this C language can run and compile on any system with either none or small changes. C always saves the application with extension what? Source file name dot C language. Okay, always remember how we are saving the applications in the C language with extension file name dot C language. Okay, fine. Extensible. C language is what? Extensible because it can easily adopt new features. Program written in C language can be extended, means when a program is already written in it, then some more features and operations can be added into it. C is what? Extensible. Some projects you developed with C, okay, that code can be extensible also, okay, with the help of what? C programming. See, in this session we had discussed in detail about various features of C language, like C is a simple, machine independent, mid-level programming language. C is a procedural oriented programming language. C is a structural oriented programming language. C is a syntax based language. C is a case sensitive language. C is a rich library. C supports inbuilt libraries. C has a memory management. User is responsible to allocate and deallocate the memory. C has fast and efficient, fast development comparatively previous language. C has a modularity. Major problems is divided into sub problems. Also we can maintain separate files. Whenever we required, we can include that files in the particular application. C is a statically typed language, general purpose language, pointers, recursions, rich set of built-in operators, and it enables several libraries, inbuilt libraries. And C is a compiler based language. C is a portability. Once we are writing the source code, not required to write every time the source code into the different platforms. We can carry that source code from one platform into another platform. There we can compile and run the applications. And C is a extensible in nature. Okay, but C has one major problem is called platform dependency. About platform dependency we'll discuss once we construct the program, execute the program. I will explain in there, but not required to here. You may get confused. Okay, see, these are all the various supported features of what C programming language. So in this session we had discussed in detail about various features of what C programming language. So that's it for today's session. We discussed in detail various features of C language. It will helps if you understood properly about these features of C language, so you can easily understand while constructing the program or developing the program of particular C topics. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you all.